I was born in Atwater, California. I was raised in Washington State, mainly King County, Snohomish County.
Who raised you?
My father. My mother left me with my dad when I was 5 years old.
And it was just you?
Just me and my dad
and your
for
dad.
a while until he started marrying. He was trying to replace my mom, I guess, or something, probably. He was married quite a few times, married 7 times.
Wow, that's quite a handful.
Yeah.
More than a handful.
Yeah. His last wife was my babysitter at one time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And what do you remember about growing up with your dad?
My dad drank a lot when I was a kid. He didn't quit drinking until I got into high school, pretty much.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a...
Yeah, it was a long time. It was pretty eventful for a kid to grow up with a drunk dad like that. I had to learn how to drive when I was pretty young, just because my dad was usually drunk when he was going home, you know. A couple accidents where he'd fall asleep and go off the road and stuff like that. My dad was a chef, so instead of finding babysitters, he'd take me to work with them all the time and stuff, you know. So I learned how to cook, and I pretty much learned the whole restaurant life.
And so he's I don't know what they call a functioning alcoholic, kind of? Would you
My
say?
dad?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was, yeah. Very functioning, yeah. He always had a job. He always had a drink in his hand, though, too. Yeah. I never had, you know, how kids grow up and they have friends come over and spend the night and stuff like that. I couldn't do that because my dad was always drunk, you know. And, many times I'm hiding in the attic. I hear the car pulling in and I'm hiding in the attic because Dad's drunk and I don't want to be there for, you know, who knows what kind of mood he's going to be in and stuff. That was always fun. Wake up and he's pissing in my toy box or peeing in the refrigerator or some shit like that.
Well,
that was fun.
What I hear is it was not a safe environment.
I for some people maybe not, but that's the only environment I knew, so
Sure.
it was safe to me. I just kept it, you know.
I guess, but if you're running and hiding
Yeah.
and going to the bathroom in these places
Right.
just to avoid, and
Yeah.
my guess is you were not feeling safe as a kid
Yeah.
in that
I hate to say
environment.
anything bad about my dad because he did raise me, and he never left, you know, he was always there for me, you know. I could always count on him for to be there, you know. It's so absurd for me to say anything bad about him, I guess.
I mean, you know, I don't hear my thoughts on, sounds like he was coping with something, and we all cope, and he chose alcohol. Lots of other people choose legal or illegal things, or
Yeah.
food, or video games, or sex. There's, you know, so it doesn't make that person bad. That's, you know, those are my thoughts. It just makes someone, they're trying to cope with their trauma or hurt or whatever they're trying to cope with, you know.
Yeah.
So
He was probably just like me, trying to cope with my mom leaving me. Yeah.
yeah, or that, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that leaves a scar.
Yeah. Because I put him through hell too, because of that, you know. Always wanting. Every year I was always like, everybody writes Santa Claus a letter, you know, I want this and this. I always wanted my mom, you know, for Christmas.
Yeah.
And then I found out that Santa Claus wasn't real, and that everybody's been lying to me and shit. Oh man, I
Double
I was
whammy right
pissed.
there.
Yeah,
Double
I was
whammy right
mad as
there.
hell.
Yeah.
And I let everybody know it. My dad had to put me into counseling and stuff to deal with my anger and stuff like that.
Which is a really amazing thing to do, to see that your son's struggling and say, hey, let's get you some help,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I hated him for that.
That's true. When you were a teenager or what?
I was a teenager, yeah.
Yeah.
12, 13, yeah.
So the therapy didn't take.
No, it didn't really take, but it did open up a lot of doors for me. I met some new people. I got jobs out of it and stuff like that.
Oh, right on.
I volunteered for these handicapped kids out in Woodinville, which I thought was great. I had a really good time with that, and that kind of changed me in a lot of ways. It slowed me down pretty much.
So it did affect you.
Yes, it did very much. Yeah. But
And you said when you were a teenager, he quit. Is that right? Did I hear that
drinking,
correctly? Yeah. Why did he? What happened?
I don't know. He married his last wife, which was my babysitter, and had a kid with her, my sister, and that's pretty much when he quit drinking. Which I was kind of bitter about that because I had to deal with the drunk dad. She gets the sober dad.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know if it was his wife that got him to quit drinking or what, but he just stopped drinking. It was amazing actually. Yeah, I give him props for it. But it was a hell of a thing to do. And he quit working in the restaurant business, but he still stayed in the food business. He went to work at the prison, Monroe, the kitchen supervisor, for the inmates and stuff. That was, the life was kind of different then. It was more stable, I guess I could say, more secure. It was kind of nice. I graduated high school pretty much because of my dad. He kept on my heels and made sure I graduated, and some good teachers.
And after you graduated, where did life take you?
I was a drug dealer.
How did that evolve?
I started in high school selling drugs, and pretty much took it on out of school for a while. But I lost all my clients because they were in school, But and then I started working in restaurants and stuff. Kind of took up after my dad.
Cooking, being a chef?
Huh?
Were you being a chef in the restaurants?
Yeah, I made it up to chef. I ran a couple of restaurants. The first major restaurant was a T-Bone Steakhouse in Detroit that I ran. I ran that for a couple of years, about 4 years actually. That was a good time out in Detroit.
How old were you around that time?
I was in my 20s then.
All right.
My late 20s. It was a good time out there. Detroit was good. For a while it was a lot of fun, and then the economy went out, but the money was good out there, and people were great. And I got away from here. And my cousin got in a bunch of trouble, and he had to split town, and he asked me if I wanted to take off with him. And I was fighting with the old lady, and I thought, sure, why not?
Well, so you had a married?
No, well, may as well have been married. My high school sweetheart had a couple kids with her. We were fighting because caught her with my best friend and stuff. But that's a whole different story in itself. But instead of staying there and probably ended up in jail or prison for domestic violence or something like that, I took off with my cousin. Plus, he needed somebody with him anyways, but couldn't let him go by himself. We took off traveling across the states in this old beat-up pickup truck. We ended up breaking down in Oklahoma City. That was great. Ended up working for the carnival, being carnies. And yeah.
Tell me more.
That was a lot of fun. It was like every stop was a different girl, pretty much, And my cousin he'd already been in carnival life, and he knew everything about the rides and all this other stuff. So really quickly we advanced. We made it up to safety supervisors with the carnival, and then when we were leaving Oklahoma, one of the stage people, the people that set stage for the concerts and stuff like that, came up and asked us to help them finish tearing down because they lost a couple people They needed help tearing down. So we went and helped them tear it down, and they offered us jobs at the end of the night. And along with the jobs, we got $250 a week, a raise from what we were making, and we got our own fifth wheel trailer to live in. And we were like, hell yeah. We went from a crummy to a fifth wheel trailer. It was a nice life then.
Sounds like an adventure.
It was total adventure. Yeah, that was something that everybody should have to go through, because it was in a lot of ways it was too much for me, but in every way it was great for me, because I got to meet all these people. We were going from all these different towns and different states, and I had a really good time. I wish I could have done that for a lot longer, but I met some girl that talked me into staying with her. So I quit my job there, left my cousin at the with the stagehands, and moved on with her.
And you said at this time you had a couple kids.
Yeah,
and
back here.
And were you in contact with them?
Not at all. No.
So no one knew where you were?
Where I was at. Nothing.
Oh wow! Kind of disappeared.
Yeah, and the mom, she even hired a private investigator to try to find me and stuff, and even called up America's Most Wanted to try to get me on a deadbeat dad thing that they had for Father's Day or some shit, and that's how they found me, was through that. That was in Detroit. I was in Detroit when they found me. I ended up, my dad ended up getting sick when I was in Detroit, and he ended up dying when I was on my way back to see him. And when I came back here, and I just decided not to go back to Detroit. And my kids didn't even know who I was, pretty much. I looked like a totally different person to them. Stuff, I guess. Plus, they'd grown up from 6 years old to high school kids, you know.
What was that like for you?
It was tough. It was tough because I expected them to be like, you know, happy to see me and stuff like that. Instead, they resented me and hated me. Their mom kind of told them a different story about what had gone on and stuff, and so they hated me for that. And when they found out what really happened, they kind of changed their thoughts about me and stuff, which was kind of nice. But at the same time, they tried to take it out on their mom, and I had to explain to them that, you know, it wasn't your mom's fault. She was just angry with me. That's what she did. Someday you guys probably have to go through the same shit, you know? Who knows?
And I can't help, you said earlier, the parallels maybe of when you were 5, you said that your mom took off?
Yeah, and I did the same thing to my kids. Yeah.
Yeah, that happens generation, like the same. The term that I've heard is kind of this, I don't know, generational sin per se, which is I don't really like, but there's this ironic irony. Is that the word, or just the parallels and just how that happens?
Yeah, it is, because I never wanted to put that on my kids, and I ended up doing it.
And did you ever meet your mom, or connect with her?
She died
Never.
when I was like 12.
Oh, gotcha.
I never seen her again since I was 5, when she dropped me off with my dad. And the fuck part was,
You be you. It's okay.
The fuck part was that she knew she was dying, and I was only like 40 miles away from her, and she knew where I was at and everything. She could have contacted me and all that, and she didn't. And I still don't know to this day why she left me with my dad. You know, what the hell happened? I say, that's always troubled me. And I've heard so many different stories, this and that, but nobody knows for sure what it was about. I mean, I know why she left my dad, because my dad was drunk and he was doing drunk things, you know. She didn't want to deal with it anymore. And
but there is that piece of she also left you with him.
Yeah, knowing that he was drunk and everything else.
Knowing
that. What did I do?
Yeah, a lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah, a whole lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah, that'll keep you up at night.
Yeah, I took a lot of that out on my stepmoms, because I had other stepmoms besides my last one too. I treated them pretty rough. I got a chance to apologize to one of my stepmoms, Bonnie, for she's actually she's more of a mother to me than anybody else was. She treated me really good, and I treated her like shit. I was hard on her, but she kept it up.
Wow.
Even to this day, we still keep contact and stuff.
Right on.
Yeah. I call her mom and everything. She did a lot for me.
And you in contact with your younger sister?
I can't stand her. No, I don't. I try not to. She got a hold of me after my youngest son died. She contacted me. And I just kind of, she took me out for lunch and drinks and stuff, and I met my niece, who I hadn't seen since she was a baby. She was all grown up, graduating school and everything. It was nice to see that, but I can't stand my sister. She's a lot like her mom, I guess, and I can't stand her. Very vindictive people.
Man, I can't help but, I got kids, and that's every parent's worst nightmare, is to have one of their kids pass.
Yeah, try having two of them die. I lost my oldest one too. Yeah. I think that's the worst thing that could happen to anybody.
Yep.
Have to bury a child. Nobody should have to go through that.
Nope.
It's hard enough burying our parents, you know. Have to bury a child is. You can't. Anyway.
Yeah, that's yeah, I couldn't. You're never the same. How could you ever be the same? Unimaginable.
No. My oldest son, he got killed about 15 years ago, around there.
What was his name?
Pardon me?
What was his name?
Justin. Me and him had just sparked up a relationship because his mom married somebody else, and I signed him off so that he could take his name, you know, or whatever. And he didn't know that I was his dad for the longest time. But I still seen him a lot because I was friends with his stepdad and his mom still, and I would go over there and visit and stuff like that. But he didn't know that I was his dad, and he overheard some people talking in the house or something like that, and he started looking at pictures of him and pictures of his dad or his stepdad or whatever, and he wondered why, you know, they looked so different and all this other stuff, and he doesn't look like his other brother and sister and stuff, and because he looked like me. But finally his mom broke down, told him that I was his dad and stuff, and I guess he already kind of knew it.
How old was he?
He was like 12 when he figured that out. Yeah.
Wow.
He advanced, my oldest son kind of advanced pretty quick. When he was 9, he had more felonies than I do now. Yeah, he stole his grandpa's truck, his pistol, and went to school. He was going to kill somebody.
Wow. So he was going through some stuff.
It was crazy. He went through a lot of. He spent a lot of time locked up, you know, which I kind of blame myself for that, because that was kind of I feel like I distilled that into him or something, you know, maybe. Because my lifestyle and stuff like that. But he never outgrew it. He was always, he was looking at going back to prison when he got killed. I think he was stealing motorcycles and stuff, and he was trying to outrun a cop on a stolen motorcycle and went through an intersection of 140 miles an hour and T-boned a car. And I feel like if I would have done things different, you know, with my kids, that they would have maybe had a different lifestyle or tried to take a different lifestyle. If I would have been a father instead of tried to be a friend, you know. Because I didn't know how to act when I was around them, pretty much, I guess, maybe.
Well, there's this piece that I think about of, you know, what model of a father did you have? You know, I hear some good parts in your dad, but these other parts, not so good.
Yeah.
And then that's how we learn a lot of times.
Yeah. Yeah, I never went fishing with my dad. And my dad only went to one of my baseball games, and he didn't even go to the base. He pulled up outside of the baseball field in the van and watched like 2 innings or something like that, and then left, went back to work. And that's pretty much all. He never even threw a baseball to me, nothing like that, you know. Yeah, he did kind of miss out on a lot of that shit.
Yeah, I think it's like our dads are, if we're fortunate enough to have a dad around or not, it's like they impact us in these huge, massive ways. And our moms, you know, our caregivers, our parents, like
Yeah.
that affect us the rest of our lives and the way we navigate the world.
Yeah, I never really thought too much about that.
Robert, you're in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I got a couple of my toes amputated and stuff, and now my leg is kind of going to shit.
What's the cause?
Heart failure. I got a congested heart disorder, fluid around my heart, my lungs, and everything else now. So, I guess the fluids start making a way out of your body. I guess this is what I've been told, that water starts going like to the lowest extremities or something like that. I don't know exactly what it is, but both my legs are swelled up. This leg here is like draining fluids out of it. For just pretty much no reason. I guess it's from the heart.
Your body's doing something, I don't know.
Yeah, the body's getting rid of the fluid, I guess. I'll end up eventually dying from the heart failure. Well, if infection or something like that doesn't kill me first. But
and you're where you living?
in a tent. In a tent in the streets, Ballard. Sometimes Ballard, sometimes Aurora.
How long you been on the streets?
I've been on the streets since about 2000. Yeah, about 2000.
That's 25 years. It's a long time.
Yeah, that is a long time. I started out in like Monroe, Gold Bar, startup, Sultan area out there. That was kind of cool because it was like a big camping trip all the time, you know. Wow, 25 years, that's a long time. I'm trying to get housing now. I guess my health issue is gonna like speed it up, I guess.
Yeah, well,
It's a good thing.
I hope. Yeah.
Yeah. That sure messed me up though. I guess it's that rough life I lived when I was younger. Paying for it now. My youngest son passed away about 2 years ago, a little over 2 years now. He got an infection in his leg. Yeah, and didn't go to the hospital. Didn't want to leave where he was doing drugs out on the streets. So he didn't want to leave that. And,
He was also unhoused?
huh?
He was unhoused at that time?
Yeah, by his choice. He left his wife and kids. And he had when he married his wife, they gave him his in-laws bought him a house, gave him a house and everything, and he had it made. But I guess
Well, so he, again, this generational, he also too.
yeah, follows. That is odd. It's unfortunate. You'd think they would learn. I would hope they would learn.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I also know some generations, they do stop at that generation.
Mm.
But you also have grandkids, sounds like.
I do. Some of them I don't see. Some of them I haven't seen at all. My oldest son's kids I haven't seen at all. His wife pretty much cut the whole family off from the kids and everything when he died. And my youngest son had a baby girl with his wife, and I see her every once in a while. Yeah. But then again, he died, and now what I heard, his wife is trying to do the same thing and keep Lily away from us and everything. I don't know what that's about, why they do that, but using the kids for like pawns in their little games or something. And it's unfortunate because the kids are the one that pays for that. But I know my son's mom well enough, she'll end up getting her back and be able to visit her because she's stubborn like that. She won't stop. I got another son, Josh. Right now he's doing awesome. From what I heard, he's like a men's house or like a halfway house or something like that in Everett, and he's back to work. And
So he's not too far away.
yeah. When my youngest son died, I left Monroe. I left everybody. I haven't been back since. kind of lost my mind when my youngest son died. I couldn't take it.
Yeah, it's understandable.
Huh?
It's understandable.
Every time I get close to that, I've been out to Everett a couple times, and it's like the closer I get to the valley, I get anxiety, and everything starts coming back to me. And
Yeah.
no matter how much drugs I do, it still doesn't go away.
Yeah, trauma, it's a tough one. Severe trauma it sticks with you.
I figured if I got far enough away from it would get easier. It did for a while, got a lot easier. But as time goes on, now I start like having dreams and shit like that. Yeah, I gotta start doing more drugs or something, I think.
Yeah, that's a option. That's one way. Robert, one last question before we wrap up. Is there anything you'd want the people of Seattle to know?
Yeah, they're doing something wrong with the housing situation. They're not. They don't really care about us out here, you know. They'd rather see us just pretty much either rot in prison or just roll over and die. Not too many people. There are some people that care about us, you know. God bless them. But the majority of the people out in Seattle, they don't like us and they don't want to have anything to do with us, you know. They passed a law saying that it's illegal to be homeless in Seattle. What the hell is that? That's ridiculous. Anybody can end up being homeless. That's, you know, they don't realize that it could be their kid someday, you know, or it could be them someday. It happens. They need to take a better look at the way that they're doing things, and it'd be pretty easy to take care of these people out here and give them housing and stuff, and these tiny houses that they're building and stuff like that. There's hundreds of them sitting that aren't even people living in them. You know, they're not. I don't know what they're doing with that. They've got all kinds of grants and stuff that who knows where the money goes with that. Probably in their pockets, and they just turn their cheeks to us. But
Robert, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's good to hear your voice. Thanks for sharing. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
I'm gonna grab that little mic.